and try to shift or change any of the things that are going on. That we make right our relationship with ourselves and with the world around us. And so much of the book, especially the early part of the book, is focused on how do we make right our relationship with ourselves and with the world. And so the book carries us in 5 different sections, from a look at the way things are, some fundamental concepts, some thoughts and some objections that we can pursue and follow. Then we look at the past. We do some harvesting, some turning the grist of our lives into gold that we can invest in the present moment and in the future. We then spend some time talking about learning and living in the now. How do we do that? How do we do that more and more effectively? Because as we just experienced with the simpleness of following our breath, when we come into the now, everything is possible. And when we're in our head, that top office that Sedena was referring to, or when we're in the past, there's very little we can do about either of those states, but we can do an awful lot about now. So that's what the 4th part of the book is about. And then the 5th part is all about charting a really incredible course for the future. So we thought we'd do a little reading, we'd do a little talking, we'll do a little interaction, answer some questions or talk about some things that are important to you, and then we'll have cookies.
It's really nice. Thank you for that.
Do not go quietly without a cookie.
It's essential.
Definitely part of it.
It's essential. And we believe that each of us comes here with a unique and authentic note to sing in this song that's called life. Now that's a hell of a lot different than the story that's been told since the Industrial Revolution and since the Age of Reason. And at that point, humanity took a sharp left turn. And instead of life being a whole and total experience, life became about performance, about productivity, about economic indicators, and a whole series of things that frankly have nothing to do with life. And over the course of these decades, these centuries since the Industrial Revolution, we have moved to not only an obsession with youth, but an obsession with economics. It's the only indicator the world currently uses today to supposedly value life. It's like trying to measure the universe with a thimble. And yet, wherever you look today, what's the topic? Well, we can't do that because it's going to impact economics. You can't take that path because you're not going to be able to earn a living. You can't do this because of that. And yet, in indigenous cultures, when a child was born, the elders gathered, and their job was to help identify what the unique gift was that child was bringing to the tribe or to the culture. And then the job of the elder, working with the child, was to raise that child so that they would fully manifest that dream, that unique gift. So in indigenous cultures, individuality and uniqueness, difference, was honored and celebrated. Here in America, a child is born, and before long, what are we doing? We're teaching them how to mimic everybody else. We don't praise them for their distinctness, their originality. We don't want them to stand out. What we want them to do is to fit in. To fit into what? A life that they were not born to live. Whereas the life that we were born to live, the life that involves the manifestation of those dreams. How many of you, when you were children, thought you were going to be a great poet or a musician or a dancer or a teacher or a healer or something? How many had at one point or another that thought, that spark? Maybe you were going to be a famous general or a political leader or whatever it happens to be, you know? You were going to paint the best painting that was ever painted, or you were going to create an invention or a social enterprise that was really meaningful. And then, of course, the voice of reason came along. Put aside those childish dreams. Don't pay attention to that. It's impractical. It'll lead you to a life of stress and challenge. Do something practical, earn a living, get in line, be a part of the great army of the employed, and contribute to productive society. So,
go quietly and not meekly into this or any other night.
We who cheered when Martin marched, and who first heard Rachel Carson's call. We who lost our heroes to hate and tried to find ourselves in love.
We who died at Kent State and cheered when the wall came down. We who contributed to the loss of America's grace and then celebrated the rebirth of all.
We will not go quietly, not meekly, into this or any other night.
We will harvest our experience and bay at the moon of new possibilities.
We will dance to life's mystery and forge a path of renewed promise for ourselves and those who come after us.
We who hold in our hands and our hearts the power to resurrect the dream. We who stood on the front lines before and who are called once again.
Will not go meekly, not quietly,